Hi everyone. Okay, so welcome to our Party Friday. So as you can see, I'm starting out today in a different book. I have about 7 books on the go all at once. So this page has already been gessoed. You can kind of see I used a palette knife, so it's got lots of different texture on it. So I thought let's just kind of go a little bit farther. So I'm just using some masking tape, and I'm just going to kind of like just layer some strips here and there and just create some background texture. So this is stuff that you should have kicking around. This is just 1-inch wide washi tape. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just add some washi tape. This is just a different thickness. So this is just going to create just some thinner lines. I'm just going to kind of follow what's going on here, and then I'm going to go over it with some matte medium just to make sure it's all sealed in. Okay, so this is such a funny coincidence. So this is like how our journaling goes. So if you see the inspiration piece in the beginning, it's like this doorway with the really beautiful door, and it's got like this kind of rainbow siding on it. So to me, this looks like kind of like the siding. It's like all these layers. So you would think that we're going to start painting. Well, actually, no, we're not. We're going to actually start gluing in some frames. So I went through my stash. Now, here is the beautiful thing about art journaling. I feel like all these crafts are connected. So, why I love art journaling is it's a way for a creative outlet for me, but then I don't also feel like I'm wasting stuff from scrapbooking because I can use all of the leftover bits into my art journaling. So here's all of these leftover frames that I have from art journal pages. So they don't look like doors, but I'm hoping they might. And if they don't, it's okay. It's still the symbolism that it's got the same shape and everything else. So to glue those down, I'm going to use some regular gel medium. I'm just going to use my brush, and make sure you always keep your brushes wet if they are not out, and as soon as you are finished with them, get them into some water and you can clean them really well after. So some regular gel medium for the reason why I'm using it is it's a kind of a heavier glue to glue down these heavier chipboard pieces, and then it's just going to be like a little added extra for texture for these thinner pieces because they probably don't need it. So anyway, just glue it down. And then I'm just going to stick them in. No rhyme or reason. Just don't think, just do. next morning, I come back and let everything kind of dry and let everything seal, and you can kind of see that some of my pages are sticking, but that's okay. So I've got to this point, and just to kind of keep everything symmetrical, or not symmetrical, but the same color, so I have one kind of like flat palette to work with, I'm going to use some gesso. I'm going to go over top of that, just cover the whole area, and then that's going to give me kind of like a plain surface to work with. And so I'm going to do that, dry it, and then come back. Okay, so I came back to this and it's dry, and actually I started working on it a little bit. I'm like, no, I gotta stop, I gotta record. So you can kind of see some little blue specks. So if you take a look at that that Pinterest picture, like the inspiration for the week, it's got like that siding. So I figured what I would do is, it's got like this kind of rainbow-ish, it's not quite a rainbow colors, but it kind of goes across. So I'm going to kind of mimic that. So it goes from dark blue to kind of like this purple to like a pinky color, then kind of like a yellowy green to like a tealy kind of green. So I'm gonna play with that. So I've got India ink, and I have a friend who I borrow stuff from. We kind of borrow stuff back and forth. So this is courtesy of Anita. So this is Bombay ink, and it's actually India ink, so it's gonna dry permanent. And this is the tray of the pretty colors that she has here. So I thought, you know what, I've never played around with these before, other than maybe once at her place. I don't know if this is going to work out. The way I look at it is I have gesso on the page, so if it doesn't turn out, I can always water it back and start all over. So let's just kind of do that. I'm going to wet my brush. This is a 1-inch wash brush by Simply Simmons. Do you have to have this brush? No, but so let's just kind of create some intense colors here. So I'm just going to take my wash brush and just go like that. Oh my god, look at that color. Okay, so that was the blue. Let's move into the violet. Okay, and then this is the magenta. I'm just going to do a thinner strip of that because I feel like there wasn't that much of it in the photo. All right, and then this is the yellow. And then of course the last color is green. So there's two colors of green. I'm using just the regular green, not the cut grass. You can see this one kind of fits the inspiration photo a little bit better. Okay, so this green here looks awesome, but the color in the photo is a little bit more blue-green. So I think I'm going to add this teal just to the bottom edge of it and blend it up. And then I should be able to kind of get that bluier green. So let's do that. I'm just going to come right up on this edge right here. Okay, this seriously makes me so happy. So I'm going to dry that. Again, this is Indie ink, so as soon as it's dry, it will be permanent. So I want to make sure it's 100% dry before I move on. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a glaze over top of everything. Now, if you've never done one of these, it starts out super scary. So you're going to need a couple things. So you're going to need like a paint color. Does it have to be the golden brown paint? No, it can be any brand of paint, even like the cheap store paint. The one thing you will need is acrylic glaze. This is the golden brand. I believe that there might be a Elene's or something like that glazing fluid, as long as you look for something that's like a glaze. It's just basically going to extend your paint time, so it's not going to dry super fast. So what you need is that, some sort of glazing liquid, brown, like a paint, some sort of paint, and then of course a paintbrush and a lot of baby wipes. A lot of baby wipes. So here's the scary part. So well, this isn't the scary part, but what you're going to need is you're going to need a little spot of paint. So however much you need, you always need less than what you think you do, but more than little. I know that doesn't make sense, but once you add the glaze, like this doesn't look like enough for this, but once you add the glaze, you're going to have a lot. So you want to make sure you do like a 50-50 or like a 60-40. If you use more glaze, the paint's going to be more transparent. If you use less glaze, it's going to be more opaque. So it just depends on what kind of like opaqueness to the paint you want. So I am using that, however that much is that 50-50? I have no idea. That's how I roll. That's how art journaling is. You just kind of start to just, you know what, embrace it. If it doesn't look good, hello, just as your friend, you can start all over. So just kind of mix it up with the paintbrush and just go over the whole thing, and you're gonna be Lisa that looks like poop all over your page. And I'm gonna say, yeah, right now it does, but then a brilliant thing is gonna happen. In about a minute time, I'm gonna wipe this all back with a white baby wipe, and you're gonna see the magic. It's just gonna be antiqued. It's gonna get in all those little nooks and crannies and just kind of make that paint color just kind of pop a little bit more. So I'm gonna do that to both sides, and then I'm gonna wait about a minute, and then I'm gonna wipe it back. Okay, I think it's been about a minute. It could be actually less than a minute, but I have no patience, so I'm just gonna go for it. So again, just take a wet baby wipe and you're just gonna start wiping. Now, some of that India ink is wiping off because I probably wasn't too impatient and it didn't quite dry when I was ready, but look at that magic. So I'm just kind of getting a worn, weather look. Now, the cleaner you want your paint to be, just move it to a cleaner spot on your baby wipe and then just continue to wipe. But that makes me so happy. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Okay, that just totally made my day. And you can go over this several times with several different colors, but that just is happy. Hello, happiness right there. That makes me so happy. Okay, so I kind of got a little carried away with the rubbing, but I started to kind of get a little more aggressive around the frames, and just by rubbing and lifting, you can see like where that some of that India ink didn't really catch, it didn't hold, and again, it's just from it wasn't 100% dry because I'm impatient. But look at that, that just went amazing. That went fantastic. That's like that old weathered look that was in that inspiration piece. So this was a complete accident, and sometimes when you're art journaling, magic happens, and this is magic. I just love it. So I'm gonna kind of let that sit for a second, make sure it's 100% dry before I move on to the next step. And I don't know what that is, but when I wait for it to dry, that'll give me time to kind of think about it. So hang tight, I'll be right back. So I was planning for it to dry, and I pulled out my cracked pistachio distress paint and evergreen bough, and I was just playing around with one of the frames here, and I really like how it's kind of like the door that's on the inspiration piece. So I'm not gonna do this to every piece, but it's just gonna kind of accentuate some of the ones that, you know, I want to maybe do something with. It's going to kind of put your eye into focus on them. I'm not, again, sure what I'm going to do to these frames, but I do kind of like how it just kind of adds that little subtle pop of color. I do like that. So again, that's just the cracked pistachio I'm using. I'm not sure if I'm going to add this evergreen bough in, but I really like this so far. Okay, so I have all this stuff laid out here, and I was kind of not really sure what to do. And I was cleaning up and some stuff started landing in these little pockets, and I'm like, hello, I'm just gonna run with it. And I really like where it's at. So you can see I have some random die cuts. I have a little sequin heart that I made using the DIY shop. This is the sequin ribbon, or whatever you want to call it. So I have that, and then you can see I have some wood veneer shapes. I also have some enamel hearts, these little enamel shapes, some wood veneer, a vellum die cut, and some sequins, more die cuts, or wood veneer. So this is pouring medium. It's transparent. It's very fluid. I think you could probably use something like, I'm trying to think, like there's a Mod Podge something. I can't remember what it is, but anyway, it's a little bit more fluid. And it dries transparent and clear and glossy. So I thought if I was super careful not to go over the lip of this frame, I could potentially just kind of seal like these pieces into it. So I'm just gonna go over top. Again, it's gonna be like frosted until it dries clear. And you got to be careful with this stuff because it gets on your hands and it gets really sticky. So just make sure you kind of are careful with it and just fill in that shape. Left this over a couple days to dry, and I'm not gonna lie, it did take a long time, and I kind of left it aside because I wanted to make sure that it was 100% dry before I moved on, because this surface, oh my goodness, you guys, it is like it's laminated. All these pieces are like embedded in here. Like some of them I could not obviously get them completely covered because then the pouring medium would be like falling off my book. But these sequins are embedded in here. This like gold whatever you call it, like this gold sequin trim is embedded in here. And then I don't know if you can see or not, but there's a little bit of glitter. I was like, you know what, glitter, the only way it's good is if it's trapped in something. So I trapped it in the pouring medium. I just literally, after when it was drying, I just sprinkled a little over top and it kind of settled in, and so it's really nice. So, but it's just beautiful. So I thought, you know what, this is going to scare a lot of people. I'm going to go over top of it with a glaze again. I just feel like some of these wood pieces are going to get really dark, and I'm going to go over top of it with the raw umber again. Again, it's just a glaze. So we're just going to take some, about like that, with some acrylic glazing fluid, and just do about 50-50. And then I'm just going to go over the whole thing, and you guys are probably going to freak out, but you got to trust me. It's kind of one of those things where it just makes everything so much more beautiful. So I'm just going to go over top of, again, everything, let it sit for about a minute or two, and then I'm going to come back and wipe everything back and see what we have. Okay, so that's probably been about a minute. How do I judge? I don't really have a timer going off. I put the paint on, I kind of put some stuff away. I will, like, you know, just kind of do some tidying up, and then I'm like, okay, it feels like it's been about a minute. So I have clean baby wipes, and then we're just gonna start wiping stuff back. You can go as much or take as much off or leave as much on as you want. This is a preference thing. So again, I just kind of like play and then just kind of like wipe everything off and then just kind of see what it looks like. And then you can like I said, you can always take more off, but it's just gonna sit in all those grooves. So okay, so like I said before, I just added some of the Pit big brush Pit pens in the black. I just wanted to add a little bit of dimension. It was just feeling a little bit of flat on some of the pieces. So by just adding it and blending it, I created that little bit of depth that I was looking for. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to practice right here. Okay, I don't know what it was, but just by doing those little frames around those, around the frames, just kind of, I don't know, kind of made you focus on a couple things like this one, and then this quoted, and then I just did one up here because it felt like a little, needed a little something more on this page. But I love the effect of this layout, and again, I feel like art journaling is a way to kind of use up some of the stuff from your scrapbooking. So I feel like the two art forms are connected. But I love this layout. It's very different from my style, but it, again, is art journaling. There is no right, there is no wrong, there is only play. So, and I totally played and I just love it. It's definitely different. So I hope you guys give this project a try because I think it's really fun to try and use up some of the things that you have in your stash. And don't forget to check out tomorrow for the Saturday video. And if you are looking for my information, I'm Maggie Mylow on YouTube, and my information will be posted below. So thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!